Welcome to Live from America podcast, and he is back, Noam Dworman. Great to have you again. It's been a while. It's my
Hi,
fault, but it's been a while.
how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. So,
You had
yeah,
your 6 year anniversary?
yeah, March 21st of 2026, 6 years anniversary. Can you believe
Of
that?
the 6 year anniversary of your heart transplant.
That's right.
Um,
Uh, and I think eight for the LVAD, which I don't have, and thank God. God bless those who have it right now. But
why don't you
uh,
find out whose heart it was?
I tried. So I didn't want to in the beginning. I didn't want to put a face on it. It's hard enough as it is, but you write a letter to the organization, and they write a letter, and they both if both parties want to meet, then they arrange it. But if one of the parties don't want to meet, then they don't arrange it. So I sent a letter a couple of years ago, but I haven't received anything. So I assume that they didn't. I'm sure it's harder for them, obviously. Um,
No, I would think they'd want to. Well, we don't know the circumstances, but in general, like if somebody in my family was had to die and they saved somebody's life, I would want to know see the person. Who knows? I guess everybody handles it differently.
Yeah, I the first couple of years I didn't want to. Like I said, it was just so hard because you feel so guilty and all that. But after that, I felt a guilt of not allowing them to see, especially somebody as successful as I am and beautiful, to see what the gift that they got. But I think it's like you said, people deal with it differently. However, I one of the reasons we haven't been doing this for a while now is a couple of weeks is because I have a lot of tests that I have to go through yearly and stuff like that. But I heard from my doctor that things are getting very tough now in the transplant world, um, because a lot of the hospitals are saying that it's an emergency, so nobody's getting anything. And I think the numbers of donors is also not as high as it should be, but
Why
should
is
do
that?
something with it. I don't know.
Oh,
But one of the reasons is like, you go when you get listed for a heart transplant, you get from category 1 to 6. It depends how, bad. Like I only got it. I was in hospital for a long time, but I only got it when it was like done. Like this is it. So a lot of the hospitals, he's saying that they've been saying that, so nobody's getting hearts. Or somebody that shouldn't get it got it, but 6 years, so I'm very thankful and happy, obviously. Um, and this is one of the things that always give me hope in a world like that crazy that we live in right now. Because I see
yeah.
the best of humanity. So on another news, when you're opening your room, the new legendary comedy. First of all, I gotta tell you, in all the pictures, it looks. I don't know what the world is, but it looks like amazing. Like great job in the design, first of all, you know.
Thank
That
you.
whole brick wall, but everybody it looks like the scene when Darth Vader you see him for the first time, no, but not in that evil way, but it's just like, oh my God, this is so what's the word? I don't know what the word is. But it looks so good. When is the opening?
Hopefully in May.
Okay.
Something with your camera, you're turning like different colors, kind of like a Disney movie, like your mood. I forget
I,
what's the movie where the characters change colors.
oh,
Anyway,
really? Let
yeah.
me see what's up. So yeah, so in May, big opening hopefully. So the news is coming. So keep an eye on that because this is gonna be awesome. Hopefully a big bang opening as usual.
As usual, we've never had a Big Bang opening.
No, the big bang that happens at the cellar.
We'll see, we'll see. I'm having a lot of problems, so I'm just taking it day by day.
And if you don't know Noam, he always say that. So
It's true.
all right, well, happy Easter, happy Passover, all. We'll talk about so much. I want to pick Noam's brain because there's few things that you said actually happened. We'll talk about it. I'll mention. I don't know if you even remember those things, but we'll talk about it. But it's always good to have to pick his brain. He's very smart, not always right, but smart. So happy Easter, or as President Trump said, open the fucking strain. Praise to Allah.
That was nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. First of all, how I was thinking about
By the way,
this morning.
do Muslims find that disrespectful? They must when he says praise to Allah in
Yeah,
a sarcastic way that way.
yeah,
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 he shouldn't do that, right?
yeah. Same like when Biden said, I don't know if you remember in the debate, inshallah, to Trump, when he debated Trump the first time. A lot of people like, I think he lost a lot of, Muslim
But
voters.
I don't think Biden meant it disrespectfully.
It
But
was sarcastic,
I
but
don't remember that. Yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah. Um,
I say inshallah sometimes to you in a text message. Is that disrespectful?
no, no, the
Okay.
way he said it, it seems
Yeah.
that when you say praise to Allah, I mean, duh, obviously, but
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. No, this is actually he's being contemptuous. Uh, I'll pause for you to look up that word. The
I was thinking the exact same thing.
meaning like he's being like an asshole, like yeah, yeah.
Oh
He's
my
being
God. First of all, how much Manny would have enjoyed Trump? I was thinking about this morning when I saw the text, actually. It's so funny.
Manny's my father. Yeah, he would have. I mean, I don't think he would have been like Mr. MAGA, but he would have enjoyed the spectacle. Yeah, he
Oh
liked.
yeah, no, I mean he would enjoy it because Manu is so funny.
Yeah,
So like Brace Allah open the fucking strain. So he
yeah.
would say something like that, open the fucking door for the
You psych. What is that? You open the fucking straight. What is it?
crazy bastards.
You crazy bastards. That's wonderful.
It's
If I mean, I don't. We gotten used to it. Like the first time the president was conducting foreign policy over text messages, I was outraged by it. But that's now that that ship has sailed, and I'm used to it, and that's the way it's going to be. If he had just said "open the straits, you crazy bastards," I would think that was kind of funny. I mean, the thing is that it's not supposed to be funny because it's deadly serious.
yeah.
People are dying. But the praise to Allah is just it's counterproductive. That's all. I mean, it's a small matter, but it's counterproductive. Anyway, go ahead.
But I mean, like, it is a big deal because when you find the people that suffering the most, as usual, are the people in the Middle East, which is like Saudi Arabia, UAE.
Although they're all in from what we're reading or what I hear people who've read it say. I haven't read it myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so um, and it's almost it's so funny because I'm obviously when I watch the news, I'm like so taken by it and I'm upset and but every time I hear you guys say Hormuz, it's just so funny that makes finally I hear myself and you guys.
Why is it supposed?
And
It's supposed to be Hormuz?
Hormuz, not
Hormuz.
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 Hormuz, which is, actually it's funny because it's also history because it's a famous Persian leader, a war leader. So Hormuz. So it's like, and we have a deadly at the Hormuz, and it's like, oh my God, it's so funny, and it's like it's crazy. Um, Farid, what's his name? The only one that say it right, but I mean he's also, from yeah,
Zakaria. Although I'm sure that's not how you say how do you say Zakaria? You don't fucking know. Like there's one
Zakaria,
word you know how to say.
Zakaria.
What's his nationality?
I'm not sure. I really like him
I
though.
thought he's Indian, isn't he?
Probably Indian or, obviously he's American, but
No, I'm gonna let the probably slide. Go ahead.
the
Yeah.
probably.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
so let's take your take on the Iran war, like from the beginning. So your people and the US, our people, joined forces together to attack Iran. Did you feel that this is, first of all, important to be done?
Listen, I think that it comes down to whether or not you believe that okay, like the cost of inaction, I think is pretty certain. The cost of inaction is at least Iran gets a nuclear bomb, and then that's I put it like a 90%, 95% prop certainty if we didn't do anything. And then over the next, 20 years and that's a long time, that most of the Gulf states, the Sunni states, UAE, Saudi Arabia, whatever, also get an atom bomb. So that's one cost on one side of the ledger. And on the other side of the ledger is, and that's forever, right? That risk of use of the atom bomb, intimidation with the atom bomb, accidental launch of the atom bomb, accidental explosion, all of that, that's probably till the end of time. And the cost of, on the other side of the ledger, is the cost of this action, which is going to be some amount of dollars, some amount of lives and suffering, and um, and some unknown outcome, and probably almost certainly pushing the time horizon of an Iranian nuclear bomb down the road by some number of years. So if you think that that cost is not worth trying to stop Iran and the rest of the Gulf states from going nuclear, then no, then you should be against the war. If you believe, as every American president has in our lifetime, Democrat and Republican, liberal and conservative, has believed that stopping Iran from getting an atom bomb is something that we must commit ourselves to, then the cost will never be less than it is right now. And we kind of have to try to do it. There's a whole nother conversation about like how Trump is doing it, how he went about it, how he spoke to the people, how he's proceeding with the war, the planning, all that stuff is all important stuff to talk about. But that's not your question. The question is whether or not we should do this. And I think, yes, we had to do this. That's because I think that the cost of an atomic bomb in Iran is too huge a cost for the world to have. I think this would be a terrible outcome. And by the way, I just say again, this used to be the liberal point of view. I mean, we took the world to the brink of destruction during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Much, much, much less risky scenario than Iran having an atom bomb. So it's just like the world has changed in their attitude about it, or they've forgotten, or they hate Trump so much they can't bear it. I don't know. But I've had a lot of guests on my show, and I asked them, okay, so are you prepared for Iran to go nuclear? And they won't answer the question directly, which means that they are, but they don't want to say so out loud. Anyways, that's my answer.
Well,
I hope it turns out well. I'm not predicting that it will.
I think is like one of the main reasons is like we've been using this excuse, Iran going nuclear forever.
It's not an
And
excuse.
okay, fair enough. We've been using that fear for a long time, and just most recently, a few months ago, said that we did the capability. And the other thing, we destroyed the capability for years to come. The other thing that you
Well,
said,
we thought we had destroyed the capability. I mean, we can have various interpretations of it, but one interpretation of it
I
is
mean, the
that,
president said that. It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
me or you, you know?
No, I know it doesn't really matter what he said. The question is now, right? But they destroyed a lot. So one possibility is that they thought they destroyed it, and then turns out they didn't. Another possibility is that they did destroy it, but then now they see Iran tripling its efforts to build back as quickly as possible, maybe with the help of China, maybe with the help of Russia. We don't know what they know, but we do know that both Israel and America think that it was important to do it. And unless you think they're just, setting up toy soldiers and doing this for fun, I
No, I'll
think
tell you what I think,
I think that this is true.
but
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 listen, you don't need to. I'll say one more thing. You don't need to know anything because right now, well, the 12-day war, we exposed Iran as a paper tiger. We were picking them apart the way a kid takes the legs off an insect. And you don't have to be Sigmund Freud to understand that if you're an Iranian leader at that point, you say to yourself, if we ever get ourselves out of this situation, there is only one way to be sure this will never happen to us again. and that is to get an atom bomb. If we had an atom bomb today, we would not be in this situation. We're not stupid, meaning that America understands and Israel understands that if we let Iran off the mat now, they're going to go nuclear. So, in a way, to my simple minded way of looking at things, it's a very simple decision here. Either we're going to say, okay, let them do it, or we're going to say, you know what? This is something the world should do everything it can to avoid. So we're going to take a swing at this. It may not work. And if it doesn't work, we'll be in the same situation we'd be in anyway, but we have to try.
But something interesting you just said is like, if we ever get a nuclear bomb, this would never happen again. Now you're talking about Iran changing its strategy to be in defensive, which is so we want to defend ourselves. That's why we want to have an atomic bomb, versus their, usual threat, which is I want to have atomic bomb so I can destroy Saudi Arabia or Israel or stuff like that.
I don't know if they want to destroy. We don't know what they want.
But when you
No.
say it that way, it almost feel like, okay, everybody should defend themselves. Everybody shouldn't be, have sovereignty. Everybody shouldn't have been just attacked for no reason by Israel
Listen,
or
listen. I can't say this enough. It really. We can engage in a conversation of what went before, and that's an important conversation in certain contexts. It really doesn't matter. It
Mm.
doesn't matter if the reason this all happened is 100% our own fault. It just doesn't matter. The question is, starting today, April 6th, do you think we should let Iran go nuclear or not? They're going nuclear because of us. Okay, like maybe yes, maybe no. Whatever.
No,
Do
I'm
you
saying
think
the way you said it right now. It's not
No,
what you
no,
usually say. Yeah.
I'm not. I don't agree with what you say. In the past, Iran has been back and forth from a nuclear bomb. We've seen documents. Obviously, I mean, one of the ways, in my opinion, that you can measure whether somebody is dealing in good faith at all is whether or not they will admit that a country that has 200 years, that's what I read, 200 years worth of energy under its ground would pursue a program such as this simply for nuclear energy. Obviously,
No, of course not. Yeah.
right. So obviously, so they want to get to a bomb. They want to get to a brink of a bomb so that they can use it for leverage. Eventually, get it without anybody knowing. Then once they get it, do they use it? Do they actually bomb? Well, it's actually probably less likely they're just going to go bomb somebody.
Yeah.
But for instance, you're Kuwaiti. If Saddam Hussein had an atom bomb, don't you think he would still be in Kuwait today?
Of course.
Yeah. So he didn't have to use it. So
Yeah,
if you're, I mean, I don't know the Muslim politics. I don't want to misspeak, but if Iran had an atom bomb, might they make a move to control Mecca?
of course.
Yeah. Okay. So these are all reasons short of Iran actually detonating a bomb. But then, of course, you have a backward regime that's going to have no fail safes, no procedures. The nuclear codes, if they even exist, will be like one, two, three, four. I mean, like there's a million reasons that the world has always been afraid of nuclear proliferation, let alone nuclear proliferation to a jihadist martyrdom culture. And I hear different things. I heard, Walter Russell Mead, who could I respect more than him? He actually doesn't believe Iran would use it in a martyrdom way. He believes they would preserve their state. But other people do believe it, including people who've left Islam, right? So I'm agnostic on that, except that I would err on the side of caution if enough smart people do believe they would use it. But like again, even if they wouldn't blow the world up as martyrs, they will throw their weight around with that bomb in such a way that UAE gets it, Saudi Arabia gets it, Oman, Qatar, like all of them, right? And then on a hair trigger alert, something can happen by accident. Who needs this for the world? Like what? Why would anybody want this for the world?
Would you
Everybody knows it's a bad idea, right?
I'll tell you my take on in a little bit. Just one more question. Do you feel the same about Israel having an atomic
No, of
bomb?
course not. Israel has never wielded the bomb. Israel's never threatened to blow up any country. And by the way,
No,
again,
the other side of mistake happen, all this, because your argument of atomic bomb, nuclear bomb is two things. One is to actually use it, and the other thing is all the mistakes and all the just
well, yeah,
the
yes, yes,
responsibility of
yes,
it.
of course. Every additional nuclear power there is increases the risk of a mistake. But I think that the the notion that a highly technologically advanced country like the United States of America, like Great Britain, like Israel, and by the way, there have been mistakes almost with the United States. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
But to compare that to the risk of mistake or accidental launch, like, I mean, things like right now we have atom bomb in Pakistan and India, right? They both have it. We all feel it's much more likely to be an accident there than the United States, right? Like you're and then and these are pretty sophisticated countries. Now you're talking about terrorists with nuclear bombs. And of course, there can be dirty bombs. There's so much risk to this. I'm sure there's 10 things that I haven't even thought of, right? Like, why? And again, this is forever. This
Well,
is
well,
forever.
well then, yeah. Well, let me tell you a few things in my opinion, and then we can discuss it. Well, first, I do believe that anyone that knows anything about Iran knows that they want to have a nuclear bomb to stay in power, because they're very, it's a regime that based on fear of their own people and stuff. I never thought that they would use the bomb against Israel because they know that will be the end of them, and they want to be. They're probably going to use it against their Arab nations, like you said, Saudi Arabia, maybe trying to take Mecca, try to take over. But they do want to have that forever and ever. They always wanted to. They always going to uh, pursue it because they want to stay in power. That's the main thing. They say for anything like destroying Israel, destroying, but now when we get them to feel like, oh, this is the only way to defend ourselves.
There
It's
is
not,
no other way. There is
yeah.
no way, but there is no way but military.
But then I'll take you, I do feel that, when you push somebody to the point of desperation, they're gonna do exactly what they're doing right now, which is
Pushed Iran to desperation.
yeah,
Iran, look at the trouble.
with the overwhelming power of the war, and they're gonna attack
Hatem,
other.
the entire
Let me
Middle
just finish
East.
my thought.
Oh, I thought you
I'm
did.
saying
Go
when
ahead.
you're attacking, I'm talking about specifically this war. When you're
Yeah.
attacking to that, level, and they say like, why are they attacking Saudi Arabia and Qatar? Because they're desperate. They have nothing to say or do, so they have to. They're desperate. They gotta do something. So they're gonna fire missiles. They're gonna do crazy stuff just to stay in power. They're not.
No.
I never think that ever a leader will be like a Japanese leader. If you drop a nuclear bomb in Iran, their leader will not step down. You know.
Okay, but you're going to say this like everybody else has spoken to you. So you're saying we should allow them to get a bomb?
No, where did you
Okay.
get that? What you?
Well,
I just told you.
so that let's see. This is simple. If we shouldn't allow them to get a bomb, there is no, as I understand this situation, there is no. I asked Robert Pape, who's in the Times, how could we stop Iran from getting a bomb? He said by passing a law that says that if Israel bombs Iran again, that we will cut off funding to Israel. I said, you think that's going to stop Iran from getting an atom bomb? That was his. I believe that was his basic admission of like, no, there is no diplomatic way to stop them from getting a bomb.
Well,
And
yeah, but let me just finish this because I said again, Iran want to have a nuclear bomb because their leader wants to be in control, be powerful to their own people, not only to the world. So that, of
whatever,
course,
are we going to
yeah.
let them?
No, but here's the thing.
So
But
how do you
let me
stop
get.
them?
No, but here's the thing is like, well, you stop. Well, first of all, you got to stop. When you say stop them, I think you got to stop the whole world from doing nuclear, going nuclear and stuff like that. Do you
That's
admit
not going to
that?
happen in the next few weeks. How are we going
I'm
to
not
stop?
talking about the next few weeks. I'm talking
But
about
Iran is on the brink. They're at
no,
70% enriched uranium.
no, we heard this. This is the problem is we don't know that people are saying the truth anymore because we've been hearing that they're a
It was
brick of
always
doing that.
true.
The
It
brick
was
of doing that.
always
It was
true.
9 months ago that they said that they're gonna have. And there's another point I want to make quickly
Hatem,
because
Hatem, Hatem. There's never been any evidence. It's always been true. Do you think Stuxnet was a fraud?
9 months ago we said we destroyed the capability and
Yes,
celebrated and all
we
that.
already covered that. We already
And
covered that.
and right now Trump said that they didn't have any nuclear war. We weren't worried about that. But I tell you what I
Okay,
think.
but I thought we established that if we, whatever Trump said or didn't say, that if we allow Iran the opportunity now, they will go directly for a bomb.
But that does not give us a pass to attack whoever we want to attack anytime we want to attack based without international law, without international
Dude, you
coalition, just
have to
because we
give me,
think.
you have to see, this is the problem.
I just said, easy,
This is all talk. How make this into an actionable decision? You are my advisor. I'm the president. And I say, I'm the president. I say, you know what? I think if we don't do this, they're gonna get a nuclear bomb. And you say, yes, Mr. President, but we did this and this and this and this, and we can't stop the whole. I say, yes, you're right, Hatem. But I have to make a decision now. And you agree with me that if I don't use the military, they're gonna go for a bomb.
why do you have to make a
So
decision now?
because they're going to develop missiles and they're going to
Now?
yes, it's going to be much more expensive. They're going to be drones and reconstitute their missile program, and whatever it is that we're doing now, 2 years from now, the cost is going to be 100x.
Let me tell you and just give me a minute to tell you, because I believe I read it in the Israeli Times, and I think this is the most accurate and correct description of what happened, and I agree with it. I think that they believed that Iran will never be as weak as they are right now. So that was the golden opportunity to destroy completely, even though they did push them 9 months ago to no nuclear bomb. They think that because they never thought they are as weak as they are right now, is the perfect time to attack, to completely destroy everything militarily in Iran. And I think that's the reason. Not because there's in the perk of doing nuclear war. Not it's because they're like, you know what? We push them 20 years. Let's push them 40 years. Let's
So
push them
you
to
so
even
so you don't think Iran was going to go nuclear if we did nothing?
not right now. Not
Why not?
this. I'm
Why
talking
not?
about this war right now.
Why
I,
wouldn't they right now?
because they don't have the capability, because we destroyed so much of the last in just 9 months ago. And I don't think even if we
Okay, well,
can have a
there's been so you believe Trump when he said he obliterated. Is that it?
yeah, of course I did.
Okay, well,
And it
there's
wasn't
a
only wait, it wasn't only Trump. It was only also
yeah
Netanyahu.
yeah, but so okay, but there's obviously been a lot of reporting to the contrary. Even Robert Pape, who is against the war, says that it's likely that they took out some of the nuclear material before the bombing. You're making a essentially you're just like this has become like as a matter of faith you're saying something and you want to state a position. I mean, I'll tell you
I don't
yes
know what
if
do you
if if
mean by
if
matter of faith.
meaning that there's no shortage of responsible reporting which says that Iran actually was uh um that the program was not as destroyed as we claimed and that they were reconstituting more quickly than we expected. If you don't believe that, what can I say? Like I don't know, but you ready? It's a big chance to take.
No, but on the other hand, I feel like you don't believe the opposite reports as well. I think everybody is. You don't think the
I mean,
position that I said?
This guy Joe Kent, who came out of the White House or whatever, he said a lot of stuff. He didn't say Iran wasn't, in danger of getting a nuclear bomb. I don't think he said that.
I think Iran is a danger, and as I always said, it's a danger to, its neighbor even more than Israel and the United States, especially Saudi Arabia, especially UAE. And to me, it's not only a danger of the military stuff, of the way of life. Look at UAE now and Qatar and Saudi Arabia. They throw them back years ago because the whole concept of living there and moving there, being free and all that, based on security. Now they have to like nobody's gonna want to do a live there. So they sending that region back hundreds of years. But I feel like again, in my take, I feel like there's Israel wanted to attack because they can blow them back years ago, and the US jumped on it. And this is not just my opinion. It's a lot of people opinion. Obviously, there's a lot of people in your opinion as well. But this war right now, it's just not. worth it, and it should not have happened as a form of war. That doesn't mean that if I say that I don't think Iran is gonna want to go nuclear. Of course they do. I don't think that if that they're not gonna stop. Of course they're gonna stop. They probably have some heading somewhere, of course, but that doesn't mean one thing. On the other hand, when you don't apply this to Israel at the same time of we see all the stuff of in Lebanon and all that, it's just like the region keep going back and forth. And one thing that I want to tell you that you said when you were talking about the outcomes of the war is like you didn't mention the one outcome that I always say, which is no more peace. You creating new generation of people that would hate America and Israel, especially civilians. It's easier to recruit terrorism when people bomb. Like if I have got the school that the children that died, and of course this is the cost of war, and I get it, but what are these people gonna be? You know, so I just don't think that right now this is the
Hatem,
solution. But now that we in it anyway. You know, I think if we in it, it's kind of like when you said in the beginning of the Gaza war. Now the in, you said, I don't know if you remember that. Um,
okay,
you
so here's
said,
some headlines. I don't like Reuters says Iran is look this is June 24th. Iran is looking to restore its nuclear industry, Iran's nuclear chief says. They're saying the IAEA uh, inspected and said, or on the agency has verified that Iran has a stock of more than 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% U-235. This is they're playing games. They could easily just say we're out of the nuclear bomb business. You can come look anytime you want. Then they have nobody to blame but themselves. This is simple matter. If they were serious, all this nonsense about creating more terrorists. This is like a go-to thing. Whatever. This is
it's not whatever.
yeah. Because yes, it is. I'm just tired of the whole thing. Look at Gaza. Netanyahu propped up Hamas. He gave them money.
He did.
Yeah, Netanyahu's creating more terrorists. He's bombing them. It doesn't really matter what policy does it.
Of course it does. But
Really, what policy would not be criticized?
what policy wouldn't be
Yeah,
criticized?
but Netanyahu is actually giving them money, right? That was a flaw. That wouldn't create more terrorists. That's supposed to create fewer terrorists, right? I'm giving them money.
Oh, no, no, no,
That'll create
no.
fewer terrorists.
It's not why
Let's
he
go on
did
to
it.
something else. It's just stupid. I've,
No,
I've
it's
had enough to
not.
hear with it.
It's not what he did. He did it to conquer, divide and conquer. That's why, not
Whatever,
to
whatever,
create.
whatever the reason he did it, it's not a policy to create more terrorists, is it?
Of course, to create terrorists to have them fight within between each other. But
No, that was not that was not what it was. There's some talk that maybe he did it. Why would he prop up Hamas? Because he didn't want Hamas. He was trying to create divide between the
yeah,
Palestinian Authority. He wanted to keep Hamas alive. That's yeah. You can say he wanted to keep Hamas alive for his own cynical reasons. Whatever. I'm not. I'll stipulate for that. I think it's much more complicated. I'm just saying that the policy of keeping Hamas alive is the very opposite of creating more terrorists through violence. And yet it created maximum terrorism. So come on now.
you know what? I'm sure the listeners can make their own mind about this.
Yes.
Because I feel like it's an obvious point to me. You're not seeing it. And let me tell you a few things that you said back in the day,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you remember those, but it's interesting to me. Especially 2 points that always came to me in the beginning of this war. One, I don't know if you said it, if you remember this. A while ago, you said you can do a little drone. You can create a little, you don't have to do missiles anymore. You don't have to do anything anymore. You can create a little drone and attack. And this is going to be a big fear. Do you remember that or not?
I remember it very well. I said it a million times. Right after the Ukrainians did it to the Russians,
Yes.
I said this is the future
A
here.
new era of, yeah.
I said if Israel doesn't stop Hamas now, 10 years from now, they're going to be overwhelmed with drones. That's what
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
it's
which,
true.
which is, it's very true. And I think, I was talking to somebody, who's,
And
in
by the
the
way, and by the way, just say in my own like patting myself on
bragging.
the back.
Sure.
Yeah. No, it was interesting to me because I've been through this more than one time in my life. I said it to a lot of people. And I never saw anybody really say shit or say you're absolutely right.
I
Like
did.
maybe you did, but in general, and so much so that I began to say to myself, man, I guess I just know what I'm talking about. It seems right to me, but like nobody really seems to be jumping on it. I don't hear anyone else saying it, right? And it was similar to me when I did some research and I had really felt that it was Ukraine that had blown up the Nord Stream pipeline, and I laid it all out, and people kind of mocked me. But anyway, like yeah, whatever. Yeah, I thought that was pretty obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, and you actually said it in this show years ago. And the thing is, like, I had a guest, one
No,
episode that,
I said certain things years ago, but I said, but when the Ukrainian Operation Spiderweb happened,
yeah.
then I really began to say, listen, this is if anybody ever needed a reason that Israel has to finish with Hamas now, this is it. Like the next October 7th is going to be 10,000 drones.
Well, the good thing for you is like Israel doesn't need reasons; they're just gonna do it. Um, but the I had a guest that was he worked in a military like special ops and black waters and all that, and we're talking about the drones, and I was telling him about that, and he's like, it can cause even more damage than missiles, and it costs nothing. The other thing that you said a while ago, also, which is taking me to this conversation about nuclear, is like you said, eventually, this is not going to be a hard thing to do or to make, you know, the bombs, the nuclear bombs. So, which I believe, and I like, listen, how many times there's like things where like the phones were like so hard now, it's all over. The technology is going to advance so bad that eventually everybody that wants to have a weapon gonna have a weapon. So you remember when you said that?
Especially if we lose our will.
Yeah. So
So we have to stop them.
but on a way, we have to also stop the way we deal with things because the only way it works is when there's no more and I know it's gonna sound naive, but hate. Um and that vicious circle of like you attack me, I'm gonna attack you. You attack me, I'm gonna attack you. It has to stop in a different way because
Yeah, well,
eventually everybody
maybe some Palestinian leader ought to go public and say he wants to make peace with Israel.
there's so
I,
many.
I, I
You
was
talked
thinking
about that
there's
before.
not so many. There's not one.
You
And let
had
me say,
you have few in your own show that I was a guest on. You have somebody
I'm,
from the middle of Gaza saying it.
no, I'm saying an actual leader, not someone who's hiding in Gaza hoping that Hamas doesn't catch him and assassinate him. I'm saying somebody who's in charge.
Well, there's so many, and also, speaking of Israel, it's also
Listen, if you wanted to create a version of a Palestinian entity that absolutely rejects any peace with Israel, how would it look different than the Palestinian entity today? Like, what would they be saying that they're not currently saying? How would they be acting in a way that they're not currently acting? Like, this astounds me about people.
no,
Like,
I agree with you.
the Palestinian people, Palestinian leadership, not the people, Palestinian
Yeah.
leadership, from the Palestinian Authority all the way through Gaza, all the way through Hamas, are not interested in peace with Israel. Period. Full stop. All I need to hear is Abbas make one speech where he says he is interested and call for negotiations. Says if he can get in front of a microphone and say, Prime Minister Netanyahu, I call for negotiations along the lines of 2008, the negotiations that I had with your former colleague Ehud Olmert. I demand you sit down at the table with me and resume those negotiations. At that point, I will say, yeah, you're right, Hatem. That is so little to ask. The fact that there's an entire 70, 80% of the world at this point, which allows this and has no cognitive dissonance. They believe all this shit about this conflict and they just manage to avert their eye from the most glaring evidence of the fulcrum, the actual leverage point of this whole conflict. It makes me furious. All they need to do is say they want peace. When Sadat said he wanted peace, all the dominoes fell. Same
Well,
same thing with every other Arab nation. When they said they want peace with Israel, they got peace with Israel.
all right, let me respond, but don't interrupt me like I didn't interrupt you. Well, first of all,
What are you talking?
first of all, Sadat said, "I want peace," and he got peace with Israel after the war. He had to when he was talking to Kissinger, and you can read it in his book about having peace with Israel. Before he said you're too weak to make any demands. You don't have anything to make any demands or anything. He had to start a war and win the first few days to gain the war back, and you cannot say that this is not true. So that way of saying that, oh, Israel is so peaceful, all they want is peace,
I
is
didn't
so
say
not
that.
true.
I didn't
Don't
say that.
interrupt me.
No, I'll interrupt you point by point. I didn't say that. And you're right that Sadat did that, and then he asked for peace,
Yeah,
and I haven't heard anybody asking for
but
peace
he
still.
but he had to show Israel only respond when there is not only Israel, a lot of the world, even the United States. But now, yeah,
Hatem, that doesn't apply here because they were at the table and Abbas walked out.
no, hold on. We're going point by point. You're saying
Go ahead.
that you're
Go ahead. I
saying
won't
that
interrupt you. I won't.
yeah, if you're saying that the Israel all they want is peace, and if somebody said peace, that's not true because a lot of people said they want peace, and they had to. You have to have certain amount of power to get the peace. The second thing is, there's a lot of nations that, like UAE, like Saudi Arabia, like they are in peace with Israel. There's no conflict. They're not normalized with them because they wanted to get the two-state solution uh gone before. So it's not that everybody is not peaceful and Israel is so peaceful. Third point is the leaders that you speak about of the Palestinians, those are made their career over the destruction of Israel of no peace. How would they ever change that? This is how they make the career. This is how they make the money. And if I am an Israeli, I was like, you know what? I don't think you're a leader. I'm not going to even negotiate with this. But that, policy of keeping them and negotiating with them because these are like the people that gonna of course they're gonna walk out of the every peace talk or whatever because they build on like we're not gonna do it. But there's so many people, and that there's so many leaders and Palestinians leaders speak out loud about we want peace, but Israel's not making it
Okay,
easy.
you know what?
Let me just say one
Next
more
time we
thing.
meet, I want you to please have prepared for me three videos of
You always
Palestinian
say
leaders.
that I send you so many videos you don't even
No,
open them.
no, for the next podcast we do, please prepare three videos of Palestinian leaders calling for peace.
I sent you so many videos
No,
of
no, that's
people calling
fine.
Hamas. Okay,
So
sounds good.
just prepare one of the ones you sent me.
It sounds good. And the other thing, which is the great point, is Israel is not making it any easier. Like, do you think that after, let's say right after October 7th, do you think Israeli will come and say, "Hey, let's make peace. Let's talk"? No, of course not. Do you think after what happened in Gaza, people are going to be, no, people need to be, especially with somebody like Netanyahu still in power, you know, especially
You
after like
just you just told me that after 73, Israel was ready to make peace.
No, after 7-3, after Sadat offered to do peace. Sadat
Right.
attacked first and then say, hey, let's make
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So now
because they were in their backs. They saw what they're capable of. So they were like,
Israel was not on his back. Israel kept the Sinai after 73.
uh, can we be honest here?
Yeah.
America kept the Sinai.
No. It,
Okay.
it, in the end, Israel
There
turned the
was
war
no
around.
brand new American weapons with direct line coming from the US to Israel and landing right brand new with the American flag in the Sinai
Wait,
during the war.
both countries were getting their weapons from their sponsors, but in the end, Egypt did not win the war. Well, I don't want to get bogged down in this. If you're
Sure.
saying that, if you want to make the analogy, Egypt defeated Israel in a war and then could ask for peace. So, okay, the Palestinians defeated Israel in Gaza, but now they're supposed to ask for peace. That's what I'm saying, but they don't.
No, but there's a difference because it was a military action during between two militaries versus civilians. That's the big deal. And Israel have the capability of doing it. I think just like you say, Palestinians need dual leaders, which I 100% agree. And you know that this has been my position a long time ago that there's no real Palestinian leader that, show up and take his own care of his own people or her own people, But same thing with the Israeli leaders. I mean, I'm shocked that Netanyahu is still in charge. And then, what's his name? The one we talked about briefly in the phone about the new. Have you made any thoughts about the new law of executing the death penalty law for Palestinians convicted of deadly acts of terrorist.
No, I haven't had time, but I just want to say that I know the law doesn't say Palestinians, and uh, but the problem,
Uh,
I saw I saw the repulsive
Let me share
clips
this
of.
with you right here. So this is what I'm looking at. The Times of Israel. The death penalty for penalty law for Palestinians convicted of deadly acts of terror in unconventional. It says Palestinians. This is the
No,
Times of Israel.
I don't think the law says.
Well, I'm
Uh,
just showing you what I read.
no, that's a headline. Did you read the article? Because uh, let's see. I mean, I can actually. I'll ask while we're talking. But 1 second. What does the new Israel death penalty
Oh, I
law?
want to show you something. I'm sorry for those who
Wait,
are
hold on, but
listening.
let me just answer it. What?
Yeah, I just want to show you something. Do you think this is Ben Gavir, right? Do you think if did you see this, the picture? Do you think if he was here in the US, people would say like, look, he's doing Heil Hitler.
All right, no, that doesn't look like he's saying Heil Hitler, but the whole thing about champagne and everything, was very disgusting. But there is a problem that I'm just assuming. I keep meaning to look into, but I'm assuming that is what's behind this law because I know that there's not huge majorities of Israel that are murderous. Is that if you convict uh, a terrorist for murdering somebody, and you know that by putting him in jail, you're creating a tremendous incentive for a hostage to be taken and used as bargaining power to get that terrorist let out of jail, then it's very easy to see how someone arrives at the decision. Say, listen, we have to execute these murderers. Like, by the way, they execute murderers in America, right? It's not like Israel is being something totally unique here. We want the death penalty for the Boston bomber, right? So like this is not like Israel is suggesting something here outside the realm of what this civilized world does, but um I don't know the answer to that problem. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't believe the law says Palestinians. I'm pretty sure the law defines it in terms of people convicted of, certain level of acts against citizens. Maybe that could be defined as terrorists. For all intents and purposes, yes, it will be Palestinians or people, or their cousins, right? But I don't think the law singles out Palestinians. But I think that the problem in this war, what Israel saw was that to get their hostages out, they had to release all these murderers. And they said to themselves, if we'd executed these murderers, they wouldn't be able to ask for them to be released. Other countries execute these murderers. We should too. I don't know. Is that such an outrageous thing to say? I don't know.
Well, obviously the first problem is the way they celebrated and did, which you agreed with, even when we were talking privately, you said it's disgusting, which it
Yeah, of
is,
course it is. It's very
you know.
Trump-like, but it's disgusting.
Yeah. The other thing is, I think the main problem is for me, is I don't trust the justice system of who is the terrorist. You can
Yeah,
get somebody.
you can feel that way. I get that, and you worry
Yeah.
about due process and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
that's another matter. That's
Yeah.
another matter.
Um,
I don't. By the way, I don't reject what you're saying out of hand. It would not. I would assume. I would assume that in a certain number, not all. I think the Israeli judiciary is lawyers. Just they tend to be more liberal, but of course this is military justice and things I don't even know about. But anyway, I would assume that there are travesties of justice among these cases, and that's why listen, I'm against the death penalty. I'm
Yeah.
against the death penalty in America because it's so clear to me that innocent people get executed. If I
Yeah.
believe that about America, I certainly believe that about Israel vis-a-vis the Palestinians. So I have to agree with you.
All
But
right. So
but that
yeah.
but that's really another matter. I'm just saying that the rationale for the death penalty here, this may be the strongest rationale for the death penalty I've ever heard of, is that if we don't execute them, they will take our children hostage and they will actually kill them unless we release these people. That's a pretty fucking strong rationale for the death penalty. I have to admit it. It is.
Um, I'm gonna give you one more. Um, Again, I'm against it, but I give you a rationale. I think it's the same reason when they killed when we killed Osama bin Laden or Saddam Hussein, we have no, we didn't keep them. First of all, we didn't keep Saddam Hussein. Could have, but and the other thing, it was, thrown in the middle of the water, so the people don't even come to that area and just be like stuff. So I understand that part of it. That you want to make sure that it's the end game. There's no more of that person. But like I said, I'm against it.
Listen,
One more question.
I'm always, I try to, I'm sure I fall short, but I try to imagine the psychology of both sides. I try to. Again, I'm sure I fall short, but I don't know that people have spent much time understanding, and Americans ought to be able to, because at least ones of a certain age, because we lived through a hostage crisis that paralyzed us in 79 or whatever it was, or 80. And and they were not delivering dead bodies on a regular basis of these hostages. It paralyzed the nation. This taking of these hostages into Gaza, especially many of them children, you had the hostage mother. This so traumatized the Israeli nation. Babies, it's, I have to say, it's understandable that one of the reactions would be to want capital punishment for terrorists. I'm sorry, I have to say that,
I
and I
get
and I
I
and I have to fault anyone who, in their response to this law, just skips over that in terms of explaining how they feel about it. Because when they skip over that, to me, it shows that they are just not deep thinkers.
I,
This is
I agree. I know that if there is a problem, if you and me right now sitting down and try to solve a problem, we're gonna say, okay, what are the options? What if we do this, this, this? And of course, this is gonna come out. It's like, what if we, eliminate the threat? Kind of like I give example of Saddam Hussein. It's like if we put him in jail, people are gonna stay rising. They're gonna ask him to cut. Let's just end this. So I get that rationale, but what I don't get is finding other solutions as well as that. But of course it's a military, very right-wing government right now. But I feel like if there's somebody that really cares, and I said that
Hatem. I
repeatedly,
I I
if
get
I
it,
am
and
the,
I'm
let me just finish this. If
yeah.
I
Go
am the
ahead.
president of Israel, and I was like, okay, I want the safety, or prime minister, of my people forever and ever. It's like, you know what? This has got to stop. This has got to stop from both ends. And I know that I have some responsibility as well. I know there's a lot of responsibility comes from Hamas and from all the terrorist organization and stuff like that. But I have some responsibility, and I am actually the civilized country, so I am the one's going to take that side. So how is
I,
that wrong?
I it's not wrong in theory, but as a practical matter, I mean, when I see Iran conscripting 12-year-olds, one of the things I think of is there's really no reasoning with these people. If they're ready to sacrifice their own 12-year-olds, what can I offer them? Like
But then
what?
you take that example and make it across the board that this is everybody. And then you don't take the example of the
I don't say it's
genius
everybody. I
12
say
years old in UAE that, oh, I can make peace with them. Or the
we
12
did.
years old in Egypt. I was like, oh, I can make peace. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but UAE seems to have charted a different course for itself away from this fever of jihad and martyrdom-ish Islam.
But by the way,
UAE,
yeah,
so hold
I
on,
want to
hold
tell you
on,
something.
hold on. No, no, hold on. But Iran has not, and Hamas has not,
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah, I agree with
and
you.
therefore, what can we offer them?
I tell you what you can offer them before, and I said that repeatedly, before Hamas and before Iran attacked Israel, they attacked Saudi Arabia, they attacked Egypt, they attacked, and when UAE, and when we try to defeat them and with ask of help even from Israel, when during the revolution, when Hamas was breaking in the, Israel said, no, you're not gonna come and help, we're not gonna
Okay,
help you.
to me, it's like you have Nazis, and you're fighting the Nazis, and somebody says, you should offer them something. You should
It's
figure
not what
out
I
what.
said. It's not what
No,
I
but
said.
I'm
I
saying
said,
this what reminds me of. It's like, no, at some point you can just say, you know what? There's the fucking Nazis. There's no, they don't want anything.
this
So
is what I just said. I said that.
right. So what can Israel do? Israel has nothing to offer them except to die.
No, Israel had there's a lot to change in Israel, but let me just finish this point first. What I said about Hamas is like if you okay with Hamas killing their own people and okay with Hamas killing their Egyptian and Saudis and that's not your problem, even though when we said hey these are terrorists and they're doing this and you were like oh freedom fighters, same thing with Bin Laden, and then when they turned on you, now they're terrorists. Once a terrorist, always a terrorist. The whole world have to stop, giving same thing
Hatem,
with the president of Syria.
I'm
But
sorry.
yeah.
I know you like to do this, and you're not unique in this way.
What's to do this? What do you mean?
I'm going to say the past is important to study for many reasons. I run a business. I find myself in a situation. I certainly do want to study all the mistakes I made, why this person did that. It matters. But none of it helps me decide what to do forward. I have to do based on what to go forward based on what will work. And then once I can stabilize the situation, not make the same mistakes again.
There's a difference between mistakes and policy.
So right now we're in a situation where Gaza, Hamas attacked Israel, and immediately most of the conversation went back to you pick the date, 1948. It went back to Theodore Herzl, the turn of the century, the Ottomans. Like it was all like we spent hours and hours and hours and hours discussing the history of the Jewish people. Go back to Poland, all this shit. I get it. It's you can debate it like you can debate the creation of America, but I'm making a different point. I'm making the point that to me, what I see in Iran and what I see from Hamas, and especially with this um, conscription of 12-year-olds, which now I think it's fair to presume that many of the 14, 15, 13, 12-year-olds killed in Gaza were similarly taken in to the military aspects, were fighters. I don't believe there's a bright line between what the Iranians are capable of and what Hamas was capable of doing. I think they operate from the same playbook, same ideology. And all I'm saying is that I don't think there's anything Israel has to offer them except to die. That's what I think. And that's a terrible situation. And if we can find a guest that can lay out well, if Israel did A, B, C, then Hamas would. Instead, you have people like Aaron Mate says, well, actually, in 2004, there's an interview where somebody from Hamas said that they would give an extended ceasefire if Israel would withdraw to the 67 borders, including the holy sites. This is what they're hanging their finger, even though it was quickly disavowed by the next Gazan leader. It's like they don't care about the settlements, they don't care about the Green Line, they don't care about nothing. They want the destruction of Israel, and there's nothing the Israelis can offer them. And the best thing, the Palestinian Authority, that might be slightly different. That might be slightly different. But of course, everybody knows that the reason Abbas canceled the elections was because Hamas was going to take over there as well.
Yeah.
So
So
what the fuck is Israel supposed to do? I mean, yes, they should get these fucking settlers out of the West Bank. I agree with you. Only because not because it'll make Hamas any nicer, because it's a provocation and it inflames the world and becomes a gateway drug to further hatred of Israel. From every way you look at it, this is lose-lose for the Jews to allow these renegade settlements, deep within the West Bank. So I agree with you 10,000%. It may even anger me more than it angers you, because you get a weapon against Israel, and I get something I can't defend. But other than that, it's the state of Israel. It's the existence which bothers them.
so let me ask you this, if you can, let's see if you can say with the same level. You saying the existence of Israel bother them, with which Hamas and Iran, which I agree. Don't you feel that also Israel feel that the only way they survive if the other side doesn't survive? Meaning,
No,
the
no, not
existence of
not not not,
Israel.
not at all. They
So
didn't feel that way.
why did
They didn't feel that way about Egypt.
no, 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 no. I'm not talking about Egypt. I'm talking about like somebody like Iran, like the country of
No,
Iran.
Israel has no beef with Iran.
What? They're attacking them right as we speak.
Only because of Iran's beef with Israel. If the
So
Iranian
that's a
people's
beef with Israel, with Iran.
no, it's
I know
not.
that it's not the people, but I'm saying the
They have no
existence.
beef with the country of Iran, except that Iran is has a it finds Israel's existence unacceptable.
But
If Iran said we don't care about Israel anymore, sei gesund, they would say, okay, we love Iran now.
no, I get it, but that means that the only way that also Israel wants to exist is by demolish whoever think Israel thinks that they don't want them. So that's constant war, don't you believe?
Hatem, Israel just dealt with a huge war from Gaza that
Sure.
was funded by Iran. And
Okay.
they just dealt with taking out Hezbollah on its north, which is under direct command and control, I believe, or virtually direct command and control from Iran.
That's
Iran
all
is
facts. I know.
Iran is surrounding Israel on every front.
So why can't
Is
you just say yes, Israel wanted to destroy Iran because of
No,
to
because
exist?
you're trying to make it as if it's mirror image. Israel does not want to destroy Iran. Israel wants Iran to stop trying to destroy Israel. It's not the same thing.
What's funny is like
You don't understand. It's not the same thing.
I understand it's the same thing, but the problem.
If I have a customer smashing my window every day to try to come in when we're closed, and I finally have to take action against that customer, we're not mirror images. I have no beef with the customer. He is constantly breaking my window trying to come in. So I'm going to go out and kick the shit out of him and say, "Oh,
Exactly.
you see? You're kicking the shit out of him. He wants to kick the shit out of you." No, that's not the
But I tell
dynamic.
you, so then I'll tell you the thing. You see the customer down the street running, and he's like, you know what? He's coming for me. Let's go get him right there. You know.
Well,
Uh,
that would be wrong. That would be wrong, but
but
I don't
so
think that's what's going on.
all right. Last question. Like, how do we get out of like? What do you think the mess that we in right now with Iran? Like, should we just stop the war and declare, and Trump will declare victory anyway? Um, or how do we get out of it? Or should we just continue boots on the ground? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the qualifications, but I think that I mean, I I don't know what's been accomplished. I don't know how many years realistically they've been set back. I don't know what the best guess intelligence is about what the Iranian opposition is likely or unlikely to accomplish if we stop now. I don't know what the risks are to special forces, boots on the ground. I don't think we can occupy Iran. I don't know if we can go in there and take the uranium out, but it's I just don't know. But I do know. All I can say is that I do know that I believe we should be prepared to pay a pretty high cost to prevent Iran from going, having a clear path to go nuclear when this is over. And I think that there are many examples in our history where the cost of inaction, where the cost of action seemed too high. And it turned out that the cost of inaction was a thousandfold worse. I mean, Bill Clinton opted not to kill bin Laden more than once
Yeah.
because the costs, it seems funny, the costs were deemed to be too high. I mean, you can go back to World War II, you can go back to any number of events in history. The cost of inaction can be very, very high. And here we have almost certainty that the cost of inaction here will be a nuclear Iran and then a nuclear Middle East. And that just seems completely fucking crazy to me. We'll see.
Yeah, I do think, like I said, is like it's the kind of our generation's weapon of mass destruction thing is the nuclear. I don't think it's ever gonna stop, and you're gonna see a few years from now we'll do the same thing, and we're just gonna say like,
Well,
oh,
Hatem, yes, and I'm going to use a trite analogy. We're all dying. I mean, yes, you can make this time horizon argument about our own lives. What do you care about saving your kid's life today? He's going to die anyway in 50 years from now, or yeah, or 100. Like, you got my point. Like, yes, of course, there's a futility in the knowledge that nothing is permanent.
no, no, no. What I was
But that's not
saying,
the way we react to things. We
it's not what
play
I
for
said.
time.
What I said is like in a few months they're gonna be like, oh, Iran is a threat again. I mean, if you take
That's up
Netanyahu's,
to Iran.
but do you if you take Netanyahu's speeches from the 70s till now, same thing with Iraq, same thing with, isn't
Not
it
just
great?
why this burns me up. It's not just Netanyahu's speeches. It wasn't since the 70s, but it's not just Netanyahu's speeches. Take Barack Obama's speeches about Iran.
No,
Barack
I'm saying
Obama, take Joe Biden's speeches about Iran. Take Bill Clinton's speeches about Iran.
I'm
This
talking
whole this
about
whole
not.
nation, this whole notion that it's all about Netanyahu, it's really kind of repulsive.
You're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm saying it's
No.
the one
What?
person that Netanyahu since the 70s saying the same thing, doing the same thing, and it seems like it's not working. Because if the
He's not
solution
saying
is
it since the 70s. Iran didn't take over until 79.
okay, well that's the 70s.
Yeah, but
Uh,
I don't think Netanyahu was not saying it during that period. But go ahead.
but the thing is like it's constant threat, the constant fear and constant attack. We have to destroy them, and then you destroy. And by the way, it's really funny to me, and then we'll end because I feel like we always say like Iran wanted destruction of Israel. Every time it's like death to America, death to Israel, which is true. But so do we. We say the same thing.
We
Israel
say the
says
what?
the destruction of Iran the whole time. It's like we have to stop Iran. Iran is this. They have get nuclear. We have to stop them right now.
You think it's what I'm saying? You're trying to claim it's the mirror image, and I'm sorry, but it's not. Israel has no. Israel is not trying to destroy any Arab country. Israel wants to be left alone.
So Israel is a peaceful nation? Government,
Yes.
not nation, government.
Well, what do you mean? Was America a peaceful nation in,
I'm
in
asking
World
you
War
about
II, World War
Israel.
One? It's a trick question. Israel has an interest in peace in the Middle East. Do they think they can be safe by being pacifist right now? No, they think they have to be strong and they have to win wars in order to have a fighting chance at peace in the future. Yeah, that's my answer about it. I've known thousands of Israelis in my life. Do you think they want to send their kids to war? Of course not.
I think Israelis and Israeli government is two different things, but
Okay, there is no Israeli Jewish ideology that has a problem with Islam, wants to destroy Islam, that says Islam are second class dhimmis. These are not mirror images. Islam is not a character in our narrative.
you
We
know,
are we are the characters in your narrative.
that's not
In a,
true.
we're like Dickensian. We're like Fagin. We're like an evil player in the Muslim version of the world. But Islam is not part of the Jewish narrative.
Islam is not part of the Jewish narrative, and
No, it's
Jewish is not
not.
part of the Islam
Of course it
narrative
is.
either. You
Is
talking about
Islam the
specific.
Quran mentions Israel not flatteringly over and the Jews over and over and over and over again.
You don't
And
even understand what they mean by Israel or the Jews in the Quran, do you?
whatever they say,
You don't even understand it, so you're
dude,
making a
I've
statement.
watched. I don't know what your interpretation is, but I've heard enough imams on YouTube to know what they think it means. I've read the Hamas charter. I don't care if Hamas is correct about it or not. From the point of view of Hamas, they believe I'm right and you're wrong.
So
From
you
the
can't
point of,
take
from the
you
point
can't
hold
take
on, from the point of view of the Ayatollah, he believes my interpretation of Islam is superior to yours. So
So
who's
then,
right? You have to
exactly.
ask
Then you
Allah. I don't know.
praise Allah. I said, then take what you just said. You're talking Hamas. You're talking Khomeini, Ayatollah. You're taking two people, and you wide brush the whole religion of 1.7 billion, saying that they know what they're talking
No,
about, and
no, no.
it's not.
I'm not wide brushing. God forbid. I don't
You,
want to wide brush anybody. I'm just making a very small point, which is
well,
worth making.
what I'm telling you,
And
and the
and the
other.
small point is that people should just it should people like it should little like dawn on them. Actually, yes, the Jews figure profoundly in the Quran. Islam, no Jewish child, except vis-a-vis the conflict with the Arab countries, was ever raised hearing anything about Islam.
Do you
We
know why
have
the
no,
Torah doesn't say
as a
anything
matter of
about
fact,
Islam?
Christianity has always been our, the one. And by the way, what does Christianity have in common with enemy? We are a character in their narrative also.
Well, maybe you to blame.
We
Just
we're not,
joking.
but we're not out. The Jews are not trying to destroy the Christians.
Let me ask you this: you saying that why the Islam is not mentioned in Torah? Like Jews are mentioned in the Quran, but why Islam is not mentioned in
I
Torah?
know why, because we predate it.
Yes, exactly.
But it doesn't
And
matter
then
why. The point is that
and
in reality, we have no beef with Islam.
and Islam doesn't have beef with the Jews,
Well,
and
then they
you
should
can
stop saying so. They
you
should
know
stop saying so.
you know what's funny is like everybody have a chat GBT right now and have all you have to do is just go and say like, hey, what does that Jewish or Israel means in do they have a problem? I know your chat GBT is programmed anti-Islam chat GBT.
What's the question? I'll type it in right now. What's the question?
Yeah, ask us like, does Quran say bad thing about the Jews or have a problem in the Quran?
Does the Quran say bad things about the Jews? I'm going to put it on.
In Quran, yeah.
I'm going to put it on uh, thinking, and I put it on standard thinking. So it's not the instant one. So it's probably going to take like, yes, the Quran contains some passages that criticize certain Jews, sometimes sharply.
Certain Jews, yes, thank you.
It also contains passages that speak positively about Jews as children of Israel. So the accurate answer is not the Quran says bad things about Jews in some simple blanket way, but that includes both praise and condemnation. The critical distinction is some verses where it's along here. Okay, give me the main negative verses. Give
So
me
so
give me three positive, three, give me three positive and three
I
negative.
can tell
Okay, and
you
then
that
we'll
you
then
have a
we'll.
Muslim that reads the Quran right here.
You brought up ChatGPT. Now
Sure,
you
sure,
want to
sure.
tell me.
Yeah, go for it. But what I want to tell you is like Israel, the word Israel in the Quran actually refer to somebody. There's different things. So when there's certain stories about the Jews, it's about specific Jewish tribe, for example, that tried to kill the prophet, or a specific. So there's nothing about the Jews. There's nothing about the specific, but people try to get so bad, and all you have to do is just read it, or everybody have the chat GBT in their thing, and to the point where like Israel wants to destroy. I mean, the world want to destroy Israel, and Israel doesn't want to destroy the world. You know what? Action speaks louder than words. Israel is involved in every single war that happened in the Middle East all the time. We say, oh, the fear of nuclear weapon. The
Well, by
only
the way,
people
that's
that
not
fire
true. First of all, that's not true. Most of the wars in the Middle East don't revolve around Israel. The Iran-Iraq war, more people were killed in one day in that war than in all the Arab-Israeli conflicts.
well,
There's
Iran, Iraq is not really
500,000 people killed in Syria. There's fighting in Yemen. What are you talking about? The
Iran
whole
is
Middle
not
East,
Middle East.
the whole Middle East is filled with war, much worse than Israel has ever been
Iran
involved
is not
in.
in the Middle East.
Of course it is.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? Where
Okay.
is Iran? So, oh, what happened to ChatGPT? See, I was right. And that's all it takes. It's just like, try to get the passages in ChatGPT and try to understand the specific, like when they say something about the Jews, it's like, okay, what happened exactly in that verse? And that's all it takes. It's just like people want to understand
What
that
part of the world do you think Iran is in?
it's not the Middle East. The Middle East goes from half of Iraq till I think half of Libya. Libya is not even in the Middle East.
So the Arabian Peninsula is not part of the Middle East.
I don't think so.
All right, whatever. Well, you can have your own definitions. Most people, when they talk about conflict in the Middle East, they include Iran.
Northern Africa, Western Asia. Um,
Western Asia, that's Iran.
You see, I was right. Okay, countries included Saudi Arabia, United Arab, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Turkey, and Egypt. I am so good. I am so good. Iran is not included. See? And that's ChatGPT, by the way. Here we go. Egypt
No,
often included. Turkey sometimes
just
included.
ask ChatGPT right now, is Iran part of the Middle East? Just ask it. And then why don't you bet me money before you ask it?
Okay, how much money?
$100.
Okay, fine. 100 is fine. Uh, is Iran part of the Middle East? And before I say
That's
the
it.
answer,
Yeah.
uh, if the audience can say like what they think in the chat, and it
I just
says no, Noam is wrong.
No, it doesn't say it says yes. I know
It
it says yes.
says Iran is generally considered part of the Middle East,
All right,
but
I'm sorry. Okay. You can you can
Iran
you
is
can cut
not
this
part
all.
of the Middle.
You can cut this all out if you want.
No, it's fine. All right, well, great to see you again. Next week, I'm gonna have a guest that you're gonna love, and it's gonna be specifically about other than the Middle East. But can you stop the wars? And oh, last question: why is Netanyahu always winning the election?
Well, he barely won last time. This is one of his, you know, he ended up making a coalition with the worst people there are in the Israeli government in order to stay in power. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know what other answer to give. I mean, he did what I believe he said he would never actually um what's the word uh what's the word when they form a coalition?
allies.
It's it begins with a C. Anyway, it's a common word. Anyway, he said he would never form that kind of alliance with these people, I believe, and then he did.
Yeah, of course, because he's just like the Iranian people want to stay in power. All right, well, I think we covered a lot of the stuff, and I'll see you guys next week. It's great to have Noam and take his take again. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. Most of the time he's wrong. Iran is not in the Middle East. We learned a lot today. Quran doesn't say anything about the Jews. That's in a bad way. So all you have to do is think. Live from America podcast. And May, keep your eyes open for the new comedy seller in May.
Okay. All right, I gotta go. You're gonna put this on you want me to put it